Imagine this, the Victorian government says that your next development can be approved in just 10 days. Sounds like a dream, right? No more months of waiting, no endless back and forth. The new Planning Amendment Bill 2025 promises lightening fast approvals and limits neighbors' objections so homes can rise sooner. But here is the real question. Does this actually fix the problem? I don't think so. Are the neighbors' complaints really what's slowing down everything? Or are we just ignoring the miles of red tape that every Victorian developer still has to cut through? And here is the kicker. The Municipal Association of Victoria, which represents all 79 councils across the Victorian state, says that it wasn't even consulted on this major reform. That's the joke. So before we celebrate the 10-day approval revolution, let's unpack whether this plan truly cuts delays or just cuts the corners. Hi, I'm Moxin Reza and I bring in real property scenarios, real property strategies. I am the property mentor. So if you are enjoying my content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for listening to me today. And we are going to jump right into this session today about 10-day approval process in Victoria. Is it really a solution or just another one of Victorian state government's sham? Let's first understand what this bill is about. The planning amendment, the Better Decisions Made Faster Bill 2025, that is called by the government the Victoria's biggest reform in 4 decades. It would tackle the housing shortage by slashing the red tape and cutting approval times. The bill introduces a new system with 3 approval streams, such as the standalone homes that could be approved in just under 10 days, townhouses and low-rise projects within 30 days, and large apartment developments in 60 days. The idea is simple. Stop treating every application the same and speed up straightforward projects so constructions can start sooner. The bill also tightens who can object. So right now, Victoria has some of the broadest third-party appeals right in the country, which means that even people miles away from the development project can actually delay it, deny it, and stop these developments. So under the new system, only directly affected neighbors will be notified and able to appeal for most developments, while smaller, low-impact projects will face no public objections at all. Alongside this, the bill also streamlines the planning scheme amendments, like smaller zoning policies or changes can be processed a lot more faster, while the larger, more complex one still goes through the full consultation. Now, the government says that this reform would boost, housing supply and drive economic activity and modernize the planning system that's been stuck in the 1980s. But in the words of Sonia Kilkenny, this is the biggest shakeup for the planning system in Victoria that has happened in decades. But I'll be honest with you guys, even I'm a little moved by the bill, but it's way too good to be true. There's ground level problems that the government has completely ignored, like every time. The troublesome neighbors are not the only reason causing delays in the development. There is a rabbit hole of problems that goes in deeper than just the Joe bloke who lives next door down to me. First, let's talk about the staffing issues. Let's talk about the council problems in general. The staffing issues, most councils across Victoria are struggling with staff shortages and heavy workloads. Most local councils' planning roles remains unfilled, putting pressure on smaller teams. Councils are expected to work through hundreds of applications, all while juggling new fast-track streams, updated policies, high-growth corridors, internal council policies, the new reforms that introduces the 10-day, 30-day, and 60-day streams for different scales of developments. But if staff numbers and training in the workflows haven't been scaled up accordingly, the clock may move, but not the actual speed. Then you got these referral authorities, the agencies like Vic Roads and Melbourne Water and the Heritage Victoria and the CFA. Each one of them have to review your application and sign off before the council can actually even look at it. Under the law, they can take up to 28 days to respond. And if they ask for more information, then the clock restarts again. So while the official statutory time for the decision might only be 60 days, the real world problem can stretch more than 200 to sometimes even 365 days. And this is before you even get to one of the biggest hidden delays, the request for further information or the RFIs. When council finds missing details, maybe the stormwater plan is incomplete or the design doesn't meet the regulation or the neighborhood character, they send an RFI. The statutory clock pauses until you reply. The consultant says that this single step can add 30 to 90 days to most applications. And every time there is an RFI that comes in, there is 30 to 90 days added to the planning side of things. But wait, there is more. And you can hear the frustration as a developer in my voice that even after your file goes through a maze of internal reviews of traffic engineers and heritage officers and arborists and urban planning designs, some councils actually require formal sign-offs or committee meetings or council meetings, which can delay the final decisions by weeks or even sometimes months. And so it's not just the bureaucracy, it's the inconsistency. Each Victorian 79 councils runs its own local planning schemes, and they are their own cowboys and their own LGAs. That means that the same townhouse design could get approved in one area and rejected in another area. And it's not uncommon for the developers to lodge multiple designs to just see what sticks or what gets through. And let's not forget the outdated technology. Many councils still rely on email PDFs and manual referrals and the systems that simply cannot move as fast as promised. The state's weak smart system only covers small projects like fences and carports. Anything bigger still goes through that old manual pipeline system. Now, even when everything goes right, delays can still come from infrastructure sign-offs, water, sewer, road, power, national broadband network, because the construction can't begin until every single utility agency gives the green light. That adds to another 3 to 9 months, even after the permit is issued. So you see how flawed the real system is. And if you think avoiding objections from the neighbors guarantees a quicker turnaround time, you are really living in a rabbit hole. You haven't really thought about the stage 2 of the problems. The developers themselves often appeal to VCAT or conditions or partial refusals, adding 6 to 12 months more to the process. VCAT's own 2024 annual report showed that planning cases are now taking a median of 36 weeks to resolve. So yes, limiting neighbors' objections only to a few blocks does not guarantee a faster approval in any way, shape, or form. The real bottleneck lies inside the council, the short staffing, the multi-agency referrals, the outdated systems. And if you have ever waited for months for a single permit, you would know exactly where I'm coming from. Fixing the planning system isn't about silencing the neighbors. It's about fixing the machinery that's already jammed and clogged in its 1950s. Because if we want more homes faster and fairer, we don't just need faster approvals. We need better systems, more planners, smarter coordination between the councils and the state agencies, and the developers needs to have a say in this. If you are really serious about speeding up home building in Victoria, then changing the appeals right is just one piece of the puzzle. I'm not saying that it's not important. Yes, it is important, but the real fix lies deeper with processes, peoples, and systems. First up, resource the councils properly. The referral agencies needs more planner, better training. You guys all need to be on the same page so that the file does not sit idle for weeks. And when the engine is understaffed, even a fast track promise can basically stall. Second is completeness and front loading. Applicants needs to lodge well-prepared applications, fully documented, compliant with local policies, and with clear site context. Councils have flagged that a large number of delays comes from requests from further information. And if you can get stuff right from the start, you can skip all of this back and forth. And third, the process reform and the digital tools. The state government is already pushing a case management service for delayed applications. But for it to work at scale, council needs modern systems, online lodgements, tracking tools, built-in referrals, transparent timeframes, learn from other states like Sydney or Adelaide or Queensland. That way, all the parties, the council, the developer, the referral agencies know what's happening and what's coming. And number fourth, clear policy and simplified decision making. If the council uses consistent planning schemes and laws, fewer surprises happen, fewer subjective debates happens, decisions move faster. A layered approach helps the 10-day, 30-day, 60-day concept sensibly. And lastly, the accountability and the feedback loops. The government and the councils should publish data on how long different types of applications are taking and what is causing the holdup. That helps identify where exactly is it the capacity or the reform required. Now, if you found this helpful, or if you found this just a bit of a exercise, don't forget to hit that like and a subscribe button for no nonsense property investment insights. I've got loads more content coming your way on smart property decisions, financing strategies, and how to build a scalable and a sustainable property portfolio that truly delivers in today's market. Until next time, keep growing that wealth, keep smiling, stay safe, keep investing. This is Moss checking out. Adios.